Welcome back. The next management on our radar is the management at Sheela Foam. Now, the stock has been under a little bit of pressure of late. It has corrected about 35% from the 52-week high, but then the market has been correcting overall. So let's keep that in mind as well. What is the outlook for the second half? How is demand shaping up? And of course, how is the integration coming along with Kurlon? Lots of questions there with the management. So we've got Rahul Gautam, CMD of the company, joining in. Mr. Gautam, great to have you on. Thanks for being with us. So if I look at the the performance revenue second quarter, I'm just reiterating numbers for the benefit of our viewers. Your revenue was up 33%. The margin was lower because there were a couple of one-off items. But you tell us, I mean, before we talk about specific Kurlon integration, in general, how is demand on ground? Considering we are hearing a lot of this chatter about urban consumption slowdown, what are you seeing?
Thank you very much for inviting me. So I think that I don't quite agree with you in the sense that from October onwards, when the season has, or the high season has begun, demand has been consistent and it's on the rise. Of course, we are governed not only by this season, but we are also governed by the wedding period. And this time is an extended wedding period which goes on up to the third week of December. So that may be a silver lining, but otherwise demand is consistent and high.
Okay, that's very good to hear, sir, because we do try and get this dipstick survey going with all consumer-related companies who join in. So you're saying you're not seeing slowdown, and plus this is the wedding season, so things should look good. So give us a sense, I mean, on a full-year basis, and now that sort of Kurlon is in your fold as well, on a full-year basis, what's the growth you're expecting this year? In a steady-state basis, the whole combined might of the big brands, what is steady-state revenue growth, say, for next year as well?
So I would say in the second half of the year, we should register anything between 13 to 15% growth. And we have to remember that Kurlon was added to the group only October last year. It was actually middle of October last year. So really the comparison and the impact of the integration and all that has been happening only in the second half. So we expect that by 31st March 2024, 2025, we should really be ending with 14-15% increase in the revenue.
So that's total FY25 total revenue is up about 14-15%. Mr. Gautam, is that what you're saying?
I know. I would say that would be close to about 10%. But the H2 revenue would be up by 14-15%.
And then since we are all the way to about March of 25, would you want to hazard an estimate for the year after that, 26, when all of this would be completely integrated? I mean, what would the ambition be on an overall company basis for 26?
So I think two impacts would be there. One would be our integration getting completed, and the second would, of course, be the environment part. As far as the environment part is concerned, I would not hazard a guess on that. Though it looks robust, there are no reasons why it should fall down or dip. But I think the real impact would be the integration part, which I would say is about 75 to 80% complete. There are a few things in the front end which needs to be sorted out, and we are on track for doing it. And as I said, it's been about a year that the acquisition took place, and as we all know, the integration is always a bigger thing than the acquisition part.
So for full year 26, would you want to go with a number? I mean, at least ambition-wise.
Ambition-wise, 15%.
15% growth. All right. Hi, Mr. Gautam. Good morning and good to see you after a while. This is Nigel on this side. I wanted three basic numbers with regard to Kurlon. You're sounding quite optimistic that the synergy benefits are playing out according to the plan. I recall when you joined us, you were talking about margins of around 13% on this particular entity, revenue scaling to around 1,000 crores, and I think the combined market share would be around 29%. Could you tell us if that is on course?
So Nigel, on the market share bit, I would say that it's always very difficult. It's how you define the market. So if you define the organized and the unorganized together, it is not 30%, but far lower, because the unorganized sector is reasonably large. However, let's look at the organized one, and you're quite right that they would be 30%. On Kurlon, I think your statement about 1,000 crores and margins of 12-13% is absolutely spot on. That's what we should have.
So by when do we get to that number, that 1,000 crore revenue run rate?
The 1,000 crore run rate we would get into Q4 for sure, and even the year should end up close to that, because we've been ramping up reasonably well. But the run rate would be there in Q4.
And okay, from Q4 onwards, you'll already be on course with regard to this 1,000 crore run rate. Ms.
Right.
Gautam, when we get you in, we also get an insight into the raw material costs. So could you help us out with polypropylene as well as with TDI prices? What are they currently? How do they compare with what we have seen on average in the first half of the year? And how do you see both these two trending going ahead?
So both TDI is hovering between about 150 and 160 rupees, and polyol about close to 105, 110, just oscillating in that range. Both have been rather low and steady compared to the last quarter. And going forward, I would say that this is the picture that should remain, because any indication that I get from the bigger markets like the European Union or the US, the rates are only going down. But I think we are at a low level. Therefore, I don't expect it to go down too much, but to be steady and holding at this price or in this range.
Okay. Just a word going back to the integration with Kurlon and the synergies. I mean, combined now, what is the market share? You'd be at. I think the estimates are probably around. Correct me if I'm wrong. In the late 20s, right? And is there scope for market share expansion? And also, sir, a word on pricing, because you're saying the actual demand on ground is not bad at all. It's a big wedding season that we're in the midst of. So give us a sense on market share and whether pricing, whether the growth is going to be pricing led or only purely volume.
No, it's not going to be pricing led. It's not going to be. Okay. Of course, there will be some small little changes of 2, 3, 4, 100%, but that's not going to impact the top line so much. And the market share, we are.
Yes.
Let's say we are 30% of the organized market, and we expect that share to go up as we move forward.
All right, very quickly, before we let you go, the two talking points are, is the Indian economy slowing down, and what is Trump's impact going to have on the United States? I recall when we chatted once, you said that the US could be closer to 100 crores of a revenue run rate. Is that on course, and by when do we see that?
Sorry, I didn't follow that. You were
the US revenue run rate. I think you were hinting that it could be 100 crore potential. Could you tell us?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that potential absolutely exists. It completely depends on the duties that have been levied, and US has been extremely erratic on levying these anti-dumping duties from various sources. India is aptly placed for supplying, but at the moment the anti-dumping duties of the order of some 35-40%. That's just too much for export to bear. We expect that to change as Trump comes in. He would be, but he's still a very loose cannon. I wouldn't hazard a guess, but with whatever relationships that exist between the country and his little bit of a bent towards India, we should expect this anti-dumping duties to kind of come down. Like today morning's newspaper, I just read that that he intends to put 100% tax on imports from China. Now, let him come in. But our duties should only reduce, which means it should improve our chance. Whether it makes it to the, just over the line to be in a position to export, we'll just wait and see that.
We'll have to wait and watch. As you said it,
Yes.
tongue in cheek, loose cannons. We don't know what to expect next, but you're saying the potential of 100 crores at least is there. Always a pleasure
Yes.
talking to you, Mr. Gautam. Thanks a lot
Thank
for
you.
joining in and wishing us, and helping us out with all of those details. In fact, as we had your commentary coming in, your stock price as well has recovered from the low point of the day. So it seems the street is taking heart from all those statements that you just gave us.